Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried and Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Again, I know I say this a lot, but you guys are fantastic. Your support has been just blows my mind, and I have so much gratitude for all of you. Thank you for sharing with this with the people that you know. It really has grown our fan base, if you will, and I just can't thank you guys enough. I also like to thank our sponsors, Siegfried and Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, I Hill Institute, my friend Drew Peterson, and Living Recoveries Interventions, another great organization there by Travis. I love you guys. Thank you for believing in me, and it really has helped grow this. And we're saving lives, man. I was just talking with our guest here. I'm going to introduce here in just a minute about how this is saving lives, and that's why I'm doing this, and I'm just grateful for these opportunities. We've had amazing guests on our show, and today's going to be no different. We have Colby Bauer. Thank you for joining us, Colby.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about this one.
His wife couldn't come. We were going to maybe have her on. Her name is McKenzie. Two amazing people, and
she's the better one.
Yeah, she's the better. We'll give her props there for sure. But Colby and McKenzie are the founders and creators of Thread Wallet, right?
Yep.
Is that how you say it?
Thread
Wallet?
Wallets, yeah.
Okay. And I have a Thread Wallet that I'm using. I just showed him, and it's something they don't still sell, but man, they've grown and they've expanded, and boy, it's amazing where this organization and company is now.
Yeah, it's come a long way. A lot bigger than we ever thought it would be. We're at, I think, 62 employees and, well into 8 figures a year. When we set out, we were like, if we could just sell 5 wallets a day, we got it. That's enough. Yeah. So it's come a long way, and we're still having a great time with it.
Well, it's amazing, your story around that, but we'll get to that in a minute. But what I'd like to do is let's get, our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So tell us a little bit about, maybe your childhood, where you grew up, and kind of what that looked like.
Yeah. I'm from Arizona. I was born in Utah. I can't claim it. I moved away when I was 2. And then I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I have 3 older sisters. I'm the youngest spoiled boy.
Yes.
Spoiled by my sisters and spoiled by my dad, of course. I grew up, my dad is one of just that very adventurous soul, he's a financial advisor. And so he made a living based on connecting with people pretty much, and providing a service, but more or less it was all based on relationships. So he was always getting into things that his clients were into. So that was anything from hunting to snowmobiling to fishing to four-wheeling and horseback riding, scuba diving. Like, it was just, I grew up doing those things all the time. My dad was also very much into traditional sports. So I grew up playing basketball, even though I'm only 5'2". I think I'm 5'7", but
you're probably really fast and a good shooter, right?
Yeah. I actually really excelled in soccer. That was my sport, and then played golf growing up as well. I ended up playing collegiate soccer at BYU and BYU Hawaii, so I had this opportunity to kind of bounce back and forth from place to place, which was amazing. But anyways, I grew up full support from my parents in anything that I did. And I was always, I can't remember a time when I was just in the house. I just loved being outside, and whether it was on my skateboard, my bike, grew up snowboarding, competitively wakeboarded. And so I was always attracted to action sports. That was something that I found a lot of, I think, just fulfillment, and now looking back, kind of therapy, like I wouldn't have been able to call it therapy back then. Now I can kind of see it as like, oh wow, that was like the community, the overcoming fears and overcoming anxieties, and being resilient, like all those natural lessons that are taught through action sports. I think I carry I've carried through my life into entrepreneurship and starting a family and those types of things. But yeah, anyways, I was always attracted to those types of sports.
Wow, that's awesome. Obviously, watching your dad doing what he was doing as well. I mean, I'm sure, that also helped kind of give you the foresight of doing that. This is kind of what I want to do. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned from your parents growing up?
Such a good one. So my mom has been an alcoholic my entire life. So, and as a kid growing up, I was pretty naive to it. So I remember when I actually found out, like, I get home from school and my mom's passed out in her closet, and I like try to shake her, and she kind of comes to, and she's like, "You need to call your dad." And I was like, "Well, where's your phone?" And she said, "It's in my car." So I went to the car, and out rolls a vodka bottle, and I was like,
"Oh, wow."
That was one of those things where, I had kind of seen signs of a problem, but I couldn't have pieced it together. That was probably when I was like 5 or 6 years old, so I didn't really understand the weight of the problem, and I was in denial. I remember my oldest sister, she was like, "Yeah, mom drinks." And, we grew up in a Mormon household. So like drinking was not,
you were like, what?
That's not what we do,
Yeah.
And so I was in denial about that. But so I saw signs of that, whether it was like her throwing up in the bathroom, or her drinking and driving and getting in multiple wrecks, and or just my mom and dad arguing all the time, those types of things that kind of grew up in that household. So I to answer your question, the things that I learned came from just experience, not like my dad sitting me down and kind of writing out, here's the lesson, the life lesson, but it was being able to deal with those types of things, those stresses at an early age. And, because luckily I never got addicted to alcohol, but when you have a loved one addicted to something like that, a substance, that roller coaster is pretty heavy, and as a kid, you don't know what's going on really. Like all of a sudden your mom's not at home anymore and she's at rehab for a few months, and then marriage is on rocks, so like your dad leaves and you just don't know what's going on. So it's kind of like you're in this weird unknown, and you just kind of have to live with distracting yourself. I think that's kind of, I turned to my sisters, but mostly I turned to friends as family and sports. And
you mentioned how you can look back and all those action sports was like therapy, and again, that's probably what you were doing as a way to kind of hopefully forget kind of the pain that you're watching your mom and dad go through, which obviously spilled over to the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. I think that's the community that you find in sports, in whether it's soccer, it's your team, in skateboarding, it's your friends. You kind of build your own team, which is fun. But that community is what makes you, get through those things. And then obviously the sport itself, but the community that's associated with the sport, it's everything.
Yeah. Wow. And we just talked, before we started, that your mom's 18 months clean.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I know. That's
so amazing. I just want the listeners to know that, hey, she's working on this and she's doing good right now. And, but again, I can imagine how hard that's been, just watching someone that, that you've looked up to, and obviously she's your mom, to struggle. I'm sure that was a very difficult thing to watch.
Oh yeah, man. It was so hard. I think I dealt with pretty severe anxiety, and I didn't I couldn't pinpoint it, for probably 15 years. It is really where it started to like show itself. And I thought I had to live with this constant stomach ache, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was dietary, and comes to find out it was stress related, anxiety related.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I think, I guess fast forward through some of all of this was in 2020, my mom got through this. She was in this crazy binge cycle, lost her job, and got stuck in this really bad binge cycle, found herself on the streets. She had kind of exhausted all of the family's homes, how that goes. And she was basically, I was praying that she'd either go to jail or really pass away. Like that was it. Like the end for me wasn't pretty, and I just wanted it to end. Like my anxiety was so crazy. I remember the 1 week I had like 3 panic attacks, and I was like, I can't, at this point, it was so unmanageable. Before I felt like I could manage it pretty well. And then this like kind of all came to this, I don't know, this me questioning, why is this all happening, in a genuine question. Why has this not come to an end? Because there's been so many opportunities for it to end, whether by death or otherwise.
Sure.
It's like there must be a reason why this is still going. Like maybe there's something I still haven't learned.
Yeah.
And anyways, I trusted that, and
Wow.
I ended up finally going to see a therapist and got on some medication and all those things.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I think one thing I learned throughout all that was, I think there's the reason why, so to speak, the quote reason why it all had to happen this way and last so long was we were at Thread. We were running this campaign called Carry On. It was all centered around really influencing people to keep pushing, right? Like the Carry On narrative, which is, you know, we sell carry goods, which was really cool. Yeah. But then it was like, okay, what's the like narrative behind this, the emotional narrative, mental narrative that we want to push. So it was like, okay, how do you push through, you know, trial, or how do you keep progressing? Those types of stories that we were telling, and we did this really cool, fun video series and all this. And it just lined up where I was going through this hard time and I was reflecting on this narrative. And anyways, long story short, Mackenzie and I knew we wanted to give back with Thread. We knew that whatever we were given, we wanted to like make sure that we could somehow help people. And throughout the years, we had given in a number of different organizations, whether that's like cash donations or, you know, whatever we could do, whatever we could offer. Mm-hmm. And then once we I started to reflect on this, I was like, this is where we need to give back. Carry On is the hero slogan for Thread. This is why I believe we've had success. Yeah. This is where we can give back. And so we decided we started a nonprofit called Carry On Foundation, which is all centered around teaching youth the importance of mental health and teaching them how action sports and outdoor recreation and how you can find life skills in those. So we've built this indoor skate park in Utah County, and we've been coaching, you know, 40, 50 kids in the past 6 months. And so it's pretty new. Yeah. But I believe that I've gone through all of that, and my mom's had to go through all of that for me to really understand the why. Which is now I can take what I've learned and now give back.
Wow, that's so beautiful, Colby, because I think I say this to my clients all the time. Life happens for us, because I meet with clients who have been through hell and back, just kind of like what you're describing, what you went through. And, you know, and when they don't see the reasons why, it's like it causes all this suffering. But once they start seeing why, because look at what you're doing now with that Carry On series you're talking about. You featured someone on there that I watched that blew my mind, Brooklyn, who was attacked by a dog. Yeah. And, I mean, it's a pretty graphic thing what happened to her face. Yeah. But to see her attitude and to see the things that you've highlighted in that Carry On series and what that means for her to keep carrying on despite what's happened to her, and to watch her testimony on that series blew my mind. It brought me to tears. Yeah.
Yeah. And her story is incredible.
It's incredible.
Her face got completely ripped off by a pit bull. Her friend's dog just randomly ripped her whole upper lip. Yeah. And she's a beautiful person. She's beautiful. You know, aesthetically, she's just a beautiful person. Yeah. So for her to deal with this, like now having pretty much like no upper lip and her teeth are revealed, that's hard, right?
Very difficult.
But she's been very optimistic through it all.
But the reason why I point this out, one of the reasons is, had you not gone through what you went through, Colby, and then having these, you would never have had this maybe platform to do this, but yet now this platform is helping someone like Brooklyn. You know, it's just, when you connect the dots, it just kind of blows my mind. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, looking back, it's easier to connect the dots, right? And it's like the quote, you don't wait for the rain to stop to be grateful, or you don't wait for the rainbow to come out to be grateful for the rain. Yeah. And that's the hardest trick in life, is to be grateful for the downpour while it's coming down on you, to try to connect the dots in that while the rain's coming down. Yeah. It's much easier to look back and go, oh, thank you for this trial. And but man, and it's sometimes impossible to really kind of get into that mindset. But if you can, I believe that's when the pain starts to go away, you know, or at least you can deal with the pain that much better, because you go, okay, there's something bigger and better waiting here. There's a rainbow at the end that I know is going to come out. And so it gives you an extra push, or courage, or confidence to get through. And,
Well, I think that's why everyone loves you guys, but also loves your company, Thread Wallets, because you are giving back. You are making a difference. You're not just like, hey, which proves you're not just in it to make money, but you're in it to actually make a difference.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
And I think that's, like you said, that's why you're successful. And I think that's why things are moving in the direction they are. And again, an amazing company. When you guys, if you haven't ever seen their products, you guys will show you how you do that. But really cool to watch you do all that. So why don't we talk? I mean, we could talk about that, this concept around your mom and everything the whole time. But I do think we need to move, because I want them to know, how did you meet your wife, McKenzie?
Oh yeah.
Right. Because this also has to do with how Thread wallets even came about.
Yeah. The origin of Thread is kind of a fun story.
It was like an accident, right?
Yeah. So I was playing soccer at BYU, and in walks, at one of the tryouts, in walks this coach that I'd never seen before. And so I was talking to some of the players, and I was like, who's this guy? And they're like, he's the BYU Hawaii coach. And basically he just picks up like the stragglers, or like anyone that the BYU coach doesn't want, right? Like, so if he like comes up to you, it's kind of like a hit to your pride, you know? You're like, uh-oh. But so he comes up to me, and I'm like, oh no. But, and I think the pride in me was like, I already play at BYU, you know, like, but he's like, I know. Like, do you, but have you ever considered playing in Hawaii? And for whatever reason, I just never thought that was an opportunity.
Yeah, right.
So he kind of paints this picture of this beautiful, you know, Laie on Oahu, just like the beautiful Hawaii lifestyle. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted that. Because growing up in Arizona, I always envied the California kids that had the ocean, you know? Yeah. And so I turned to wakeboarding when I probably would have surfed if I had the ocean.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So I was like, this is my opportunity to learn to surf.
Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, I took the opportunity and went out to Hawaii. And I remember the first week I went out, and I was kind of, you know, a kook, right? Trying to learn how to surf. And I left my wallet in my board shorts and lost my wallet to the ocean. And within the first week I was out there, and it hadn't been the first time I lost my wallet. I'm pretty known for losing stuff. Right. So anyways, I knew the process. I got to renew my credit card and my ID and stuff like that. And in the meantime, I go online to look for a new wallet. And I just typed in men's wallets on Google to kind of see what showed up, and go to the images, and it's just like this never-ending scroll of your dad's wallet. You know, it's just like this. I
call them the George Costanza wallet, the big fat thing that you're sitting like this because it's hurting your back because it's so big in your pocket.
Exactly, man. That's exact. So, and first off, that wasn't me. Like I was living in Hawaii. I needed like this I loved the minimalist lifestyle.
Sure, yeah.
And then also I was always attracted to kind of like these action sport brands, or like these lifestyle brands that were more expressive. So anyways, long story short, I was going through this, the Foodland, it's the local grocery store. And I see this thick rubber band around one of the broccoli stems, or like asparagus they have them, you know? And I just went over there and I swiped that and just threw it around my cards and cash. And I was like, this is my new wallet. I loved it. It was so perfect, especially for like, because I didn't want a leather, because being in wet board shorts most of the day, you don't want it to like ruin the leather, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So I had this rubber band, and then during that semester at school, I was required to come up with a product idea that we would launch on Kickstarter. It's a crowdfunding website. And so I'm going through, I'm thinking like, what could I do? And to me, the easiest product would have been a wallet, you know, and it's something that everybody could use. And so I started exploring this, and I ended up coming up with this new rubber band as a wallet, this little elastic, right? But I didn't have a sewing machine, so I just started gluing things and stapling, you know, it just looks so bad. Anyways, I took this idea back home to Utah. Yeah. And I didn't, you know, I launched the Kickstarter and it did all right. It was okay. It was just a class project. Anyway.
Right, yeah.
And but I remember thinking like, I think there's some possibility that we could actually make something with this. Yeah. But I needed a sewing machine, so I'm looking around asking people if they have a sewing machine, and I this girl had a sewing machine, so I go over and she teaches me how to sew, and I've never really used one. Now, yeah. I'm sewing in her bedroom, and she actually told me, she's like, you know, this would be I would use this wallet if it had a key ring on it. And I was like, I had just met this girl, so at first I'm like, kind of like, who are you to say like what? This is my product.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
And I thought it was like for sure a guy wallet, right? Like this is a front pocket wallet for guys.
Yeah.
And there's no way girls want, like they have their
Yeah.
purse, they have their clutch, you know. Those type.
Sure. Yeah.
And she's like, no, I would use this, especially if like I could attach my keys or my gym pass, whatever to it. And so
Yeah.
I was like, all right, sure. So she grabbed this headband off of her doorknob and she cut it up and she sewed it in and put a key ring around it. And sure enough, like I remember later that day, I took a picture. I actually have this picture of me at Costco, like loving this thing because it had my keys on it. I was like, this is actually like, she was smart, you know?
She's like, yeah.
So she helped me out. But, you know, I think you guys probably know the story, but I ended up falling in love with that girl. That's McKenzie.
That's McKenzie.
And we got married pretty quickly after. I mean, six months after. And, you know, it all happened because of Hawaii. I got introduced to her through a friend from Hawaii. So the reason I started in Hawaii was because that played a massive role in us meeting.
Yeah.
But I had one more semester left. And so we decided, okay, let's, after we get married in August, let's move out and finish up school in Hawaii. So we basically had a 6-month honeymoon, which was the best.
Yeah.
And we started selling these little wallets out there at farmers markets and kind of got it going. You know, it was just a hobby, you know, a few wallets a day, whatever. But when I was graduating, I had this opportunity. I could go kind of be what my dad was, financial advisor, which growing up, I just was not attracted to it. I just, and there's nothing wrong with this kind of like A plus B equals C mentality, but like I think I always knew I was an entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah.
And so I resisted that, but I was scared to tell my dad that, you know, I didn't want to.
Yeah, didn't want to hurt his feelings. Right, exactly.
But he's always supported me. So I told him, I said, you know, thank you so much for an opportunity to come on with you and all that. But quite frankly, like, I don't know if this is me and I'd love to start something of my own. He's like, yeah, you should start that wallet idea. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, tell all my clients about it. He's like, I use it. I love it. I'm like, really?
That's
He's like,
awesome.
Yeah, go for it. And it was a total different reaction than maybe I thought I was getting, you know? I thought he might like tear up. Maybe he did behind the scenes, but anyways, we decided after graduating to go on. You know, McKenzie and I said, let's give this 6 months. And I think it's easier to start when you don't have kids and you don't have too many payments and all those things. So we said, let's go for it right now while we can. Yeah. And it panned out. 6 months rolled around and it was a no-brainer to keep going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible. It's amazing how things happen sometimes, right? So you I don't know if we mentioned this, but you and McKenzie have 2 daughters?
Yeah.
2 daughters right now and 1 on the way. We don't know what it is yet though. We don't know the, male or female yet, but so that's exciting. So you're busy. You got these younger kids. Obviously you start this business as well. You guys have grown exponentially over the last, even the last couple of years even, right?
Right.
How are you juggling all that? How are you guys doing that? Because you guys are business partners, right, as well.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
That's what's crazy with this whole thing is we started a business while we were dating. It was like it's always been a part of our relationship, which for better or worse, right? I think there's some great things I feel like we've expedited a level of communication that you don't naturally get with marriages, early on, because we're making business decisions together. So there's feelings involved in that regard, and there's strategy and those types of things that it helped in that way. But man, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was so stressful and so hard trying to balance a marriage and a business. And we're both stubborn people. And so it was, we've gotten to massive arguments. I've been slapped multiple times in the face, like well-deserved too. Yeah. But like we still get into arguments. Like I think we had a pretty big one last week.
You're a human.
Yeah.
You guys are human, just trying to do your best, and doing all that's very stressful.
Yeah, it's so stressful.
It just is. Yeah.
I can't remember your question, but
I was just wondering, how just basically the dynamics of being married and also your business partners, and you got kids, and you're trying to juggle all of this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely we're not perfect. I think actually earlier on, when you have so much on your list, for me it was easier to balance things because I had to. It's like you're forced to like if I really wanted to fit in working out, I had to be more regimented on my schedule. Like I had to wake up at 5:30,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
If I wanted to read and educate myself, whether that's like the scriptures or like just books or whatever, like I had to wake up early. And so, I think it was earlier on, it was actually like I was probably more disciplined and more balanced.
Yeah.
And actually I remember like having an entrepreneurship teacher say, like, early on when you're starting a business, don't even try to balance things. Like there's no way it's going to happen. I was like, that's a challenge, you know?
Right.
So
like,
I
okay.
made sure I was really regimented. Now I think we've gotten to a place with the business side of things where we have built a really solid team, and the team, I would say they carry most of the weight as far as like in the weeds type day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Where our tasks now as business owners is more higher level, you know, managing people, strategizing, and just protecting the culture and the vision of the company.
Yeah.
So there's that weight, which is a different weight. You know, it's still just as stressful. It's just a different responsibility. I'm no longer having to go in and set up email campaigns anymore, you know, or like post on social media or take photos or like, you know, that. But now it's the stresses of, okay, what's the next year look like, 3 years? So there's that I'm trying to balance with more so like my mental health side of things. And then, with kids, we knew early on, if we were going to start a company, that the culture of our company was to put family first. That was like everything we decided in our culture was, there's no office hours. There's no vacation policy. Like it's just, you know, and we're true to that. It's not just, you know,
you're not just saying
we're saying it. Yeah.
Like you guys live up to that.
We for sure live up to it. And
so meaning when you say no vacation policy, it's like if you need time off, take time off.
Yeah. I think that we always try to lead, instead of like creating policies, we just lead with context. So, you know, we give freedom with accountability. So there's still, there's still things that you have to do. Basically, it's like so long as you're getting what you need to done, and so long as you're not hindering others from getting their job done, then you're welcome to spend your time how you want, whether that's take your kid to soccer practice or go on a vacation to Hawaii for 2 weeks, you know, as long as you can still manage both. And anyways, that has been a blessing because, and I think one thing Mackenzie and I decided too is that if we're going to say that, we have to set the example, because you could say it all day, but if the owners aren't really doing it, people aren't going to do it. So we make sure, I think last year we took like, I don't know, 15 or so vacations, you know, like we were out of the country, out of state.
Doing your thing.
Yeah. So as far as like balancing family life and work life, we've done a pretty good job, I would say, at that, because we know what is most important to us.
Yeah.
And it's nice to, having started a company with your spouse, there's so many hats that you're constantly wearing. And so throughout the day, you can't just have your set schedule and that's it.
Right.
You have to be willing to flex. Like, I think yesterday Mackenzie's like, yeah, I'm running late for something. Can you go pick up the girls from school? And I was like, easy, done. I got it, you know? And then like took an hour off of work and went to the jump place, you know, those types of things. Right. Like, so there's flexibility and an understanding with a spouse that's also your business partner, which is kind of nice. That comes built in. But there also are some complications, especially as the business grows and as your family grows. Mackenzie wants to be a mom, right? And so there's like, it's really difficult for her to want to be a CMO and a mom, be there for her kids. And so she made a really tough decision a year and a half ago to step down. And so she's still involved, especially at like executive meetings and kind of higher level stuff, but she's more at home now. And so that was hard for her because she loves work and she needs work for her own mental sanity.
Can imagine.
So.
Well, it goes back to what you guys are saying. If we're gonna put family first, and this is what we're preaching in our culture here at our company, we better be living it too. And really what she's doing is practicing what you guys have been preaching.
Right.
Like, as hard as it is, I'm sure it's hard.
Yeah.
But she also, hey, I want to be a mom first here.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. No, it's tricky, especially because she's also very feminist in that she stands for women empowerment and representing. She loves to represent that women can be successful in business.
Both sides.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that's so hard, right? Like the balance. it's like you can
Mm-hmm.
be successful in business and you can be a good mom. It really makes it that much more difficult to be both at the same
Yeah.
time.
Right.
She
Sure.
kills it though. It's amazing
Well,
what she
no,
does.
and she is a very confident, strong person. I know that just by following you guys. I mean, in the things she says, the way she talks, the way she carries herself. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And she's doing it.
Yeah.
You
No,
guys are doing it. I
she's
mean, it's
incredible.
awesome.
I think in the past year and a half, I've learned more about who I married in that, like,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely married up. Like, it's crazy to see what she has been
Yeah.
able to accomplish with so much on her plate. Not only just at Thread and being a mom, but she's passionate about certain,
Mm-hmm.
like women empowerment. And
Yes.
she's raised, I think probably, I would say, I don't, this is a guess, maybe like $75,000 and a bunch of hygiene products to donate to schools and other
Right.
organizations for women.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's just like,
It's awesome.
she goes for what she really wants
Yeah.
and she doesn't let anything get in the way. Anyways, I admire my wife. She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Mackenzie. Wish you were here, but yeah, no, you guys obviously make a great team. Both with the family and with your organization, and what you're doing, and the nonprofit. I love that Carry On Foundation and what you guys are doing with that. I think that is amazing.
I'm so excited.
Again, like I said, when I watched Brooklyn's story, I was in tears, but it was almost happy tears at the same time because of how she's handling it, and then how you guys are really spotlighting her carry on attitude.
I think everyone has a story that
Yeah.
can reference the Carry On narrative.
For
like
sure.
it could be as small as stubbing your toe to
Right.
some of the stories I listen to on your
Yeah.
podcast, which is
Yeah.
sexual abuse, eating
Yes.
disorders, addiction,
Yep.
lost family members. I mean,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on and on and on. And every pain, all pains aren't created equal. Some are
Yeah.
internal, some are external. Amberly, the one that she almost lost her leg.
Almost lost her leg.
Just so many crazy things that then trigger addictions, and then that creates more pain, emotional pain, whatever. And it's just, life is not meant to be easy. And I think I was actually talking with a therapist last night, and he was talking, he believes, and I also agree, that we need meaningful struggle in life.
Yeah.
Struggle is actually good as long
Yeah.
as it's meaningful, right?
Yeah.
You can have struggle and it actually puts you down in a
Yeah.
hole. But if you're pushing for a higher purpose and you aim for that, and it's supposed to be hard to
Right.
get there. And if
Yeah.
it's not, then we lose meaning in our lives, and then that's when sometimes depression kicks in or whatever.
Exactly.
Right? And so it's actually important that we kind of set our sights on big goals, ambitious goals, a higher purpose. And that's
Yeah.
actually what helped my mom was, to end this story, I guess, to kind of wrap it full circle with my mom,
Sure.
is
Yeah.
she was on the streets, and I remember she had been in and out of the hospital like 3 or 4 times in 2 days, and the hospital wasn't really allowing her to stay in there to detox because they just didn't have beds, and
Right.
she wasn't really willing to check herself into rehab. And so anyways, long story, she couldn't get in to a bed and all that. So I remember thinking, we could keep trying the same thing, and we
Mhm.
have for 30 years, and
Right.
it hasn't
Yeah.
really worked. What is it that's going to change? And I remember thinking, like, my mom's a creative soul.
Yeah.
She loves art. She's been a painter in the past, and she loves creativity.
Yeah.
Is there something I can do with her that can kind of re-spark this like creativity? And so I prayed about it, and I felt prompted to actually take her to Michael's the next day. Instead,
Yeah.
I could have taken her to the streets at some homeless shelter.
Right.
I could have,
Yeah.
or which I had done that multiple times, which is such an emotional, such a hard thing to drop your mom off in the streets.
I can't even imagine.
And so I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Wow.
But I remember thinking, I'll spend the day with her. I'll invite my sisters down from Park City, and we'll do a day where we just do arts and crafts. Like, that was kind of the prompting I had. And
Jeez.
to kind of wrap that story in a nutshell, my mom had written children's books. And so we decided we were going to write a children's book that day. And it was right during Christmas time. So it was like,
Dang.
we were going to write a children's Christmas story that she could publish and read to all the grandkids. And we were going to do all the illustrations too. And so we spent the whole day doing this.
Dang.
And I told my mom, and she was kind of like, in and out, like still trying to sober up. But I was like, Mom, you really have a knack for this. Like and you can help so many parents and kids through these stories, because the story that she wrote throughout the day, this Christmas story, was a story of hope. And a story of looking at Christ. It was, you know, Cece's magical Christmas tree. And what does the Christmas tree represent? It represents hope. And so it was just, it all kind of came full circle. And so I said, Mom, like, if you check yourself into rehab, you can actually come back. We can do these stories together. We'll get them published. Like, we'll work through these. And how many people can you impact? How many people can you help? And I think at that time, she, like, her wheel started to turn, like, this is actually maybe why I've gone through so much. Is like, now I can tell my story through these kids' stories, right? And so she got that higher purpose. And that, I think, really has pulled her, and she's still writing and illustrating her children's books.
Really?
It's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That blows my mind. You know, there's a quote by Mark Twain, and I don't know if I have it exactly right, but he says, the two most important days of a person's life are the day they were born and the day they found out why. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you don't find out that why until you go through the struggles like you were talking about, like even with what you've been through and stuff.
Take decades.
It can take a while. I mean, I'm doing what I'm doing because of my struggles through my addiction. Had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be talking to you today. Right. See, that's where I start going, wow, there's a reason that we go through these things. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And then you said, you know, you've had dozens of people write you and say, thank you so much. It saved my life. Yeah. You know, you're saving lives, or you're helping people. Yeah.
It's just mind blowing. But thank you for sharing that. And wow, it's so neat. So what are, you know, you guys are obviously doing some great things. Do you have anything, like, what are your future plans? Do you think far ahead, or are you guys just in the moment, or what do you guys do?
I'm definitely a visionary as far as, like, I kind of live more in the future than I sometimes the present. And that's okay. I think my lifelong pursuit is the Carry On Foundation. Okay. And so we're just getting going. It's fun we've built this first skate park, and we have some big plans we're trying to partner right now with Tony Hawk's foundation, which is the skate park project.
Oh, wow.
And
that's awesome.
I can see a vision they've built 700 parks. If we can organize maybe programs within each of those parks or some of those parks. And then you got surfing. There's a whole, whole program for surfing, snowboarding, skiing, and then outdoor recreation. There's the list goes on. It's just a never ending, I think for me, that's the lifelong pursuit. If I can leave this world knowing that I set up a foundation that helps people and youth and parents to learn these life skills of resilience and overcoming fears and anxieties, and to ultimately find mental health. I feel like I've spent my life the right way, the way that I feel like it was intended. So yes, Thread is a big part of that, because they run parallel, they run in tandem with each other. But I think I can see the future being more spent on the foundation side of things than on Thread. And McKenzie, she shares a lot of the same goals as me. She's dealt with severe OCD. She has I can't remember what it's called, but she pulls her hairs out. And so she's constantly dealing with that. She has bald spots on her head, and she's very open about these things. She's very vulnerable, because she knows that, like, we could paint this picture as we're all perfect. Thread's going so well. We have two beautiful little girls and things are all great, but it's like, dude, it's not what it seems. There's so much internally too that's going on. And her mom was just diagnosed with cancer and going through chemotherapy right now. Wow. There's just, everyone has that, right? Sure. I'm not saying these things to, like, feel any sort of sympathy, but it's like, that happens, right? And if it's not now, it's probably in a year from now that something's going to happen.
Right. Well, with that said, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think people might look at you too and go, God, they've got it all. They got their family. They got this great business. It's booming, but it's not without the trials and the struggles. And your wife, McKenzie, posted something on her Instagram, and I'd like to read some of that, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I love about it, she's very vulnerable in this post. And I just want to read to our listeners, because again, every one of us are going through something difficult. So if you're going through something hard, that's what we're all in this together, right? And here's what she said. She goes, I want to let you on a little secret. You know when people say they're running around like a chicken with its head cut off? Well, come to find out I'm that chicken. And she says, for all the strengths that I have almost double or triple the amount of weaknesses. For all the good you see, there's also lots of arguments with my husband, anxieties I deal with regularly. Here's a look at my imperfect life, the stuff you don't often see. And she goes on to list these off. You know, I cannot wake up early for the life of me, no joke. Today I got up for 20 minutes, got the girls off to preschool, and then came back and slept till 11. She says she struggles keeping up with text conversations. She goes, I have multiple email chains, even important ones that are waiting for a response. She goes, I'm perpetually running late. And just ask my family and my teammates. As hard as I try, she goes, I overbook or double book myself almost daily. I haven't exercised regularly in probably a year. I've attached my phone. I'm attached to my phone like my toes are attached to my feet. I have bald spots where she's pulling out with that OCD that she talked about. And she did talk about how her mom has cancer. The baby's measuring small. There's piles and piles of laundry. We've eaten out far too much. And she just goes on. And what I love about it is she's like, guys, this is real. This is just real life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why people love you guys so much, because you're just real. You guys don't sugarcoat stuff. And not to say your whole life is bad. It's just saying, hey, we're going through this, but at the same time, there's all this great going on. Yeah. And they kind of coexist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I just love her vulnerability on that.
She is. Yeah. She's amazing. I think she's always been confident. You know, that's something that always attracted me to her. And to now kind of see that she's confident with being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of vulnerability if we're going to try to change our society, and that the stigmas around mental health and all those things. We have to be confident. We have to kind of step out of our comfort zone and say, I'm struggling. I've been addicted to opioids for a year, or I've looked at pornography, way too much, right? Or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, eating disorders,
sure.
And being honest with yourself, and not that you have to have a confession with everyone, right? It doesn't need to be posted, but just being honest with yourself and saying, okay, I do need help. And it's okay that I'm weak. I saw my dad go through, cause he kind of, as my mom went through a lot, he felt like he had to be this rock, right? And not show any weakness.
Yeah.
And, it kind of came back with vengeance in his 55 years old, went through this crazy midlife crisis the past 5-6 years, got addicted to opioids and alcohol, and started living somewhat of a double life, and it, he was just, I think he was scared to be vulnerable and admit that he was suffering from anxieties and depression. But if he could have just, now he can say those things, but if he could have just acknowledged it and been humble enough to say, I need help, they probably would have avoided a lot of the struggle, unnecessary struggles, right?
Exactly.
So anyways, I think if we really want to change our society, which I think it's going in the right direction, this vulnerability is mandatory.
For sure. I love that you say that about vulnerability. With the clients I deal with and people I work with, we always often say, the amount of vulnerability you're willing to express will be equal to the amount of happiness you'll experience in life.
Oh, I love that.
So if vulnerability goes up, happiness goes up. If vulnerability goes down, happiness goes down. Mm-hmm. And it is scary to be vulnerable. I mean, your wife's post is a very vulnerable post. But when I was reading the comments, people were just like, thank you so much. I needed to hear that today. You made my day. Or you know what? It makes me want to be more vulnerable. I mean, the list went on. I don't know if you ever read the comments, but I was blown away. That's the power of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And then people connect with McKenzie through this post. Mm-hmm. And I did. I was connecting. I'm going, geez, I feel just like this half the time.
Yeah.
So I was so grateful for that. And I think it just, not only does it create happiness in your own life, it gives that hope you were talking about earlier to people who are going, oh man, they're regular people.
Yeah.
Even though they're doing great over here,
right.
No, they're regular people.
100%.
Wow. I love that.
Love that. Thank you for, I think, wrapping that up, tying a bow on it. It's, it's a beautiful principle that I've come to learn in the past few years that I'm so grateful I've learned now, before it's gotten, I would say, too late or for sure, too deep.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, this has been great to sit down with you. I mean, to be totally honest with the listeners, I didn't know where this was going to go today. I thought we were going to talk thread wallets the whole time, and I know everyone has a story, but thank you for yourself being vulnerable and talk about your struggles that you went through as a child and seeing your mom struggling. And again, we're glad she's doing well. But thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that portion of your life.
Dude, it's honestly really refreshing.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving me a platform to share that story.
Yeah.
And it's therapeutic, honestly. Like, it genuinely is so empowering to be able to tell some of that. And I probably could have been even more vulnerable with my own struggles, personal struggles, but thank you for giving me a platform.
You're welcome.
Thank you for hopefully our story has helped or will help these people, that your audience. I
have no doubt that it will.
Cool.
No doubt.
Well, thank you.
Well, so couple last things here. If people want to reach out to you, they want to know more about Thread Wallets, they want to know more about you and McKenzie, they want to know more about your foundation, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm only on LinkedIn. All other social media I just got rid of. And then McKenzie's on Instagram, McKenzie Bauer, and then LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
But I can even share my email, colby@threadwallets.com, and you can reach out to me there too.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then as far as Thread and what we're doing at Carry On, just follow Thread on social media, Instagram. You can look at what we sell on threadwallets.com, kind of check out more about the company too there. So yeah,
go to threadwallets.com and you can look up some of these Carry On stories. And I looked up Brooklyn's and I was crying, but it was tears of joy seeing this woman go through what she went through and to rise above it. It's just beautiful. So I love that you're doing that. If there's someone listening to you right now, Colby, this very moment, who is struggling, you've already said a bunch of really amazing things, but what would you say to that one person right now who is struggling? What could you tell them right now?
I don't know. It's probably not going to be as profound as you'd hope. But I think what I've come to learn in the cure for addiction or mental health, I kind of distanced myself from my mom for too long and my dad, that when they got divorced.
Yeah.
And I came to realize that as hard as it would have been to actually get closer to them as opposed to further away, I think that would have helped them and helped me understand them more and understand my parents as humans. And that could be a sibling, it could be a son or a daughter, grandma, whatever it is, whatever relationship. But I think our natural instinct is to run away or stay away from pain. And because there's mental health that you have to consider, like my own anxieties, being close to my mom, I knew that if I was too close, the roller coaster would just be too much to handle. So I had to distance. So there's that. Yeah. But I think what my mom needed the most was human connection and, social life.
Sure.
And so I think that I would just challenge, if you have the tendency to distance yourself, or whether that's you with the addiction or whatever that's going through a hard time, or somebody else, to look for that and try to actually get closer to them. And it doesn't have to be physically closer. It could be even just like a text here and there, whatever. But
sure,
I think that the human connection equals human development. I think we can find progress with each other, and it sometimes doesn't come siloed,
Yeah, right.
So.
Boy, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Connection is powerful. I often say connection is where suffering comes to die, because I do believe when we're not connecting, we're suffering. Mm-hmm. When we finally connect, even at just this conversation I'm having with you today, Colby, like this has been great for me.
Yeah.
Just sitting here, it's been therapeutic for me because we're connecting.
I love
We're
it.
truly connecting. And I know anyone listening to this is connecting. So I hope you guys feel a little less suffering in your life. And I love that advice about what he just said about connecting. So make sure you reach out. Reach out to me. If you don't have anyone to reach out to, I would be happy to as you guys well know, that I'd be happy to help any way I can. Reach out to Colby, check out his stuff. His organization's amazing, and but I can't thank you enough for being here.
I also can't thank you enough. This was amazing.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun, and I love you guys for tuning in. I told you today was going to be great. I pinch myself every week, man. I get to sit down with these amazing people and hear their story firsthand. And I want to challenge all of you to, as you listen to this, when you're done, I know every one of you knows someone who's struggling. I don't care if it's a friend, a son or a daughter, a spouse, a coworker. Share this episode. I mean, just say, hey, I thought of you. Send them the link when it's, and I promise you it opens up the door, and it really just helps get the message out. And I want more people to hear Colby's story. So, all right. Love you guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks to our sponsors. You guys are amazing. And again, Colby, thanks for all you're doing, man. Good luck to everything you're doing.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Till next time, everyone.